What's going on, guys? So I just came back from a nice workout and I hit a PR on my squats, 180 for 5. So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about how to set your calories for fat loss or cutting. I dropped from 215 to 160 using a really bad way, and that was terrible. I was crash dieting, which is eating way less, not counting calories, but eating way less. So that actually made me lose a lot of muscle. So that's not what you want to do. So for fat loss, you need to be in a caloric deficit. So how do you calculate that? So let's take my weight previously, let's say 200 pounds. So 200 pounds, to check how many calories you need to maintain your weight, which is maintenance calories, you can simply use a multiplication factor of 15 and multiply that by your current body weight, and that will give you a rough estimate. 14 to 16 would be a good multiplication, so 15 would be right in the middle. So if you take 200 multiplied by 15, that's gonna give you 3,000 calories. That's what you need to eat to maintain your weight. What I like to do to create that deficit is to be in a 20% caloric deficit. So you multiply that 3,000 calories by 0.8, and that in turn is going to give you 2,400 calories. So that 2,400 calories is your calories you eat when you're on a cut. So when you create that deficit, since 3,500 calories equals 1 pound, if you create that deficit of, I think it was 600 calorie deficit at 200 pounds per day is going to give you 4,200 calorie deficit. So that means in 1 week you're going to lose roughly a pound and a half, since 4,200 calories divided by 3,000 is around 1.2, 1.5, yeah, 1.2. So you're gonna be in a fat loss of 1.2 pounds per week. When you're really overweight, you can actually take your goal body weight and multiply that by 11 to give you faster results. The reason is your body needs less food than you actually think. Because the layer of fat is mostly what you have as weight, your lean, it doesn't represent your lean body mass, which is your muscles, your organs, your bones. So you can actually take your goal body weight. So let's say I was 200 pounds. My goal body weight is maybe 160. I would actually set a short-term goal of increments of 20. So I use 180 and multiply that by 11, and that will actually give me really good results. And then after I get to 180, I would reassess my body composition to see if I want to bulk, which is add muscle, or I want to continue cutting down to a shredded physique. Next thing you want to do is to calculate your macros. And there are tons of apps on your smartphone to help you calculate those. And my favorite one is MyFitnessPal, which is free. So what are macros? So macros are the carbs, fats, and proteins. So each gram of the macros have a different caloric value. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So what you really want is to keep your protein 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if I'm 200 pounds, I would want 200 grams of protein in my diet. Protein is important to maintain your muscle. So what happened when I crash dieted, my calories were too low and my protein wasn't sufficient. So I actually dropped a lot of muscle. Your fats should be kept at a lower percentage. I would say 25% of your calories should be from your fats. Fats is a important macronutrient that it plays a role in your hormones. It regulates testosterone and it contributes to sex drive. Lastly, your carbs, anything else can go into carbs. So my favorite macronutrient ratio is 40 grams of carbohydrates, 25% from fats, and 35% from protein. This will give you around 0.9 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. You can play around with fats and carbs. It doesn't really matter as long as you hit your calorie deficit. In my previous vlog, I explained what a refeed is very briefly, and you want to incorporate this when you're on a cut. So basically it's 1 or 2 days of the week, preferably on a training day, since your body will better utilize those nutrients. Refeed day is to eat back at maintenance, and it will replenish your muscle glycogen. Since you're on a cut for many days of the week, you might get exhausted, and then your body will naturally adapt to that eating pattern of your caloric deficit. So it tricks your body into thinking you're given more food, so it's going to adapt to that, but you're going to continue with that cut until you hit your goal. So it's important to add those refeed days in, and like I said before, it makes you stay sane. So where does most of your results come from? There's this really good pyramid that basically explains where most of your results come from. At the bottom of the pyramid, you see your energy deficit, which is your caloric deficit, is the most important. The caloric deficit is pretty much the primary factor of weight loss or fat loss. Second is hitting your training and hitting your macros. Basically, the rest of the pyramid is micronutrients and fiber, nutrient timing, and supplements. It doesn't really make much difference in your results of fat loss. So to recap what you need to do to drop weight or lose fat is set your caloric deficit to roughly 20%, or if you're really overweight, you can use a goal body weight, and I recommend 20-pound increments, and multiply your goal body weight or 20-pound goal by 11 to give you your cutting calories. And second is to hit your macros and calculate them correctly, and use a app like MyFitnessPal to track your food, your caloric intake, your macros. And referring to a pyramid, macros is balanced with training. So try to hit the gym and try to progressively overload your muscles. I'll talk later on about that, but make sure you're getting stronger every time at the gym. Try to hit PRs, which indicates that you're getting stronger and you're building muscle. And lastly, make sure you go on your refeeds. Your refeeds make sure your fat loss doesn't plateau. That's pretty much it, guys. So hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, comment them down below. If you have any suggestions, just message me on Facebook if you have me on Facebook, or comment it down below. And as always, go insane and make the gains.